As promised, here is my little tour of some of my favorite spots in Central Park. I decided to post this because Central Park will be one of the places that I may miss the most should this move to Africa actually materialize. I can't count how many hours I've spent here in this park, along with millions of other New Yorkers and tourists too. This is the Harlem Meer. The Meer is the northernmost region of the park. It's much less well known and a lot more quiet. And when you look out in this direction, you might forget that you're in a big city clamoring with people. And, it strikes me as odd that I would long for a park when moving to a country that is considered tropical, right? After all, Senegal is a tropical country in a tropical region of the world. But when I've looked at the pictures, I see more sand than trees. But I understand that there's a big tree planting campaign ongoing. And it's the charm of big weeping willows like this one that help to endear people to the park. You have to admit, this is a tree with a lot of personality. So here is the entrance to the Botanical Gardens, which is essentially an oasis inside an oasis. It's still early and hasn't opened yet, so we'll come back. When we go inside, before we enter the Untermeyer Garden, also known as the North Garden, I want to show you how Central Park raises money. So now we're inside, and before we go into the North Garden, you see these benches? Well, they're everywhere, and on many of them are these personalized plaques that can be purchased by anyone who has money. Most of the plaques appear to be placed by family members of someone who has died, and it's a way to honor their life and to kind of extend their life because each plaque has a little inscription of some sort about the person being honored. So we're entering the North Garden, which features the statues of these three maidens dancing over the pool. But back to the benches, that story. People sit on these benches, so it's like having your own public memorial. Your family can come to see it without having to go to a cemetery, which can be a bit depressing, at least for me. And Central Park is able to raise a ton of money through this Adopt a Bench program. There are 9,000 benches. You see somebody sitting on one there in the park, and about 6,800 of them. So here we are on a patio off the side of a pergola, which is in the central garden, and we're going to walk on the pergola, but I wanted to show you how the patio overlooks this alley with benches, of course, for people to sit on. And there are two alleys like this, each lined with crabapple trees that you see here, and they bloom with pink and white flowers in the early spring, and it's just extraordinary. By the way, in case you were wondering, the plaques on those benches we were talking about, they sell for $10,000. But I remember early in the program when it first started, they were much less expensive. We're going up the steps to the pergola, and you'll see in a second this tall geyser fountain out in front of the central lawn. That's central, that is Fifth Avenue on the far end of the screen. So no one is allowed on this lawn, by the way. It's off limits to people and their dogs. So this is a pergola. It's a fancy name for a porch or a patio, and it's also very nice. You have these vines growing up the side of the post. Um, and you'll see in a minute that they grow all across the top ceiling of the pergola. So you get this nice shade. Some people come up here to take wedding pictures. So it's just nice. It has a public bathroom in the park. So now we're going to go to the very last part, which is the South Garden. So here, the South Garden, the most popular destination in the garden overall, and it's because of this wide assortment of plantings that you can find here. Unfortunately, it's too late in the season to see the show in full bloom, but it's really a sight for sore eyes. So if you ever get a chance to see it, you should make sure you do. The other thing is this fountain named after a children's book author, Hodgkin Burnett. So here you have the water lilies, the benches, the flowers, the trees. What more do you need to create a sense of peace? So here you have it, the leisure time of a queenager in New York.